Well, everyone, welcome to the Border Wars campaign. Let's get a round of applause. Yeah, this will be episode 1. We're starting off with all level 1 characters, and we've got a homebrew world and 5 different characters. I'm DM Rob. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the official start of the session sound. Get ready. Here we go. And what I'd like everyone to do now is to introduce yourselves a little bit. We're going to read each character's background, and then what we're going to do is we're going to ping on the map where you're from, like we did when we first got in here. So I guess let's start with Oren.
Hi, I'm Rob, also known as Oren Tomte Levenen Werken van der Kabouter. I'm a forest gnome and a pickpocket. Orcs rampage through my secluded village of gnomes, Paracelsius, killing many and scattering the rest. My parents were killed, and I grew up an orphan in a quaint halfling hamlet outside of Holmshaven, where I was the only gnome among halfling children. I didn't look like the other children, and I was smaller, so I was bullied. Fortunately, the halfling headmistress, Donala Darkbottom, was kind to me. She showed me the power of a good sense of humor, and from then on I would joke my way out and sometimes into trouble, or hide, even sometimes come back later for payback. Being poor, I learned quickly that it was us and them, rich and poor. Fortunately, the rich were rich enough to not notice something small missing, and certain enough of their security to be easy targets. I found work in the Thieves Guild and spent my nights burgling rich folks' homes and days picking their pockets. I always send most of my share of fenced goods and stolen coins anonymously to Donala in hopes that she'll be able to help another young kid find his way in the world. I wound up in underwater mine flayer jail in Jixian after traveling to a barren city in the war zone called Limberwall and was caught trying to steal a wand of invisibility that one illithid known as Casa Lethen held in personal value.
Let's move on to Eastburn Stormhammer.
I'm Eastburn. He's a cleric of Thor. He used to be a sailor, or a pirate, more or less, and he's a hill dwarf. So his background goes as such. I may be a dwarf, but I never seen the insides of a mine. Was born in the port city of Cloudwreck, hustle and bustle kind of town. Now me ma, she had plans for me. Even though I was going to grow up by the sea, I had to remember dwarven ways. So she sent me off to a church of Thor to learn about the Hammer King himself. I studied for years under the clergy of Odinson, but I was 28 when he got me vestments and symbol. I was a real boy now, free to spread the word to all who'd hear it. Caught wind of a ship looking for a doctor. Volunteered saying I had a lot more than just bandages. What a ship she was. Aye, the Sea Dragon. You might hear that name and hear pirates, but we ain't never stole nothing from anyone who didn't deserve to lose it. We were right, kings on the ocean. But the sea don't take kindly to no man. Something came big to dethrone us. I barely remember a thing except its curdling roar. I washed up in Cloudwreck with nothing but the Sea Dragon's flag. I hope one day to put her back up on my own ship and find the sea spawn that tore her down. Since she sank, I've been working on any boat that'll take me. And when no ships do, I can hire myself out as a medic or muscle. Just trying to save up to finally get me on a boat. Recently ended up on a boat that went too close to a portal and got boarded by jixians. The few of us that survived got captured, but most of us got killed.
Tarnak.
Hello, my name is Tarnak. I am a dragon-born monk, black lineage, which means that I have acid breath. My background is as such. I was born to the Neurixius clan, a wealthy family who played a major role in the political and mercantile sectors of their tribe in Closted Peak, where different dragon-born clans lived in unison, sometimes at each other's scales. I was born with a twin brother who was normal by all accounts. I, on the other hand, was a runt with stunted growth. Puny and odd, I opened my eyes on the world, revealing purple eyes that indicated a birth defect resulting in short height and a peculiar power. Ashamed, my parents treated me as a bastard son, doting instead on my powerful brother Balazar. But shortly after my 3rd birthday, an adolescent by Dragonborn standards, I grew the rare ability to breathe acid, and suddenly I was the star of the family. My brother showed no signs of developing this, and soon became jealous of the attention that was given to me. Shortly after that, livestock were discovered daily, burned to the bone from acid, and corroded. The blame quickly fell to me, as the only dragon who could breathe acid in my tribe. Despite my protests and already being an outsider in the eyes of the village, the city council forced me to either be beaten by corporal punishment or broken and exiled to life away from Closted Peak. My parents, though ashamed, thought that I would die if beaten due to my size and thus used their influence to have me exiled instead. With my exile came the banishment of all family and clan names. Instead, on my travel papers, after my given name, is the dragonborn word Yoral, meaning exiled in the common language. As I must show these papers when entering many dragonborn tribes, I have been turned away from many of the settlements that I've arrived at. At 4 years of age, I arrived in the city of Alfheimer, begging to survive. I grew up with a sense of fierce goodness, eager to help everyone and a deep hatred of the law. I was found one day by a human monk named Jordine, who was visiting the marketplace looking for wretched souls to comfort, and he instead took pity on me. I soon found work with his sister and her family, cleaning the outer perimeter of their home but never stepping inside. However, one day I discovered him and his nephew engaging in martial arts, and I begged to be trained as well. Jordine agreed, hoping to provide an outlet for the anger and frustration a result of the difficult time that I had been through. At the age of 15, I became a full-grown adult and found myself at the completion of my monk training. My presence had been acknowledged by the head monk of the monastery outside of town, and after completing my final trial, I was granted the status of a full-fledged monk. After my graduation, the head monk referred me to a number of clans who might teach him further, depending on the path that I wished to take on my journey. At 16 years old, I finally saved enough money to start my own private investigation practice near the center of Alfheimer, close to the hustle and bustle of daily life, operating from the back of my modest home. Due to the location and generosity of my previous employer, I found moderate success. However, one day after investigating a crime that's led me too close to enemy lines, I was captured by Jixian soldiers and taken away to their home.
All right, Bellinor.
I am a wood elf monk of the Open Hand. I was a former bandit. Bellinor was born in Solace, in the Solace Forest region where many wood elves reside. At an early age of 80, he showed a natural lust for blood and battle. This personality led him to leave the forest to the mutual agreement of both parties. He eventually wound up in another forest region called Everless. In this region, he preyed upon merchant folk and village folk alike as a bandit. He eventually became a leader of a small group of bandits, not through respect, but fear. Bellinor was quite successful as a bandit, but his bloodlust could never be quelled. His group became ever larger, raiding bigger and bigger targets. This eventually led to a coup d'etat, and the group betrayed him and left him for dead. As he lay dying on the ground, a wandering human monk found him. This monk began to take care of Bellinor. As he was nursing him, the monk named Balon informed him of his monastic traditions of his order, the Way of the Open Hand. Bellinor was genuinely interested in the combat applications of this order. When he asked Balon if he would teach him these combat techniques, Balon declined. He stated that only a monk of the order may learn such combat skills. Thus, Bellinor decided the monk was useless and decided to stab him in the back. As he tried to do so, Balon suddenly turned around to face him, yet strangely did not decide to make any move to dodge. As Balon was stabbed squarely in the upper chest, Bellinor asked him why he made no move. Balon explained that he felt Bellinor's bloodlust almost immediately upon discovering his body. Yet despite this, he couldn't bring himself to kill Bellinor because he was once just a bandit, just like him. As he died, Balon told him that his bloodlust would only lead to his doom, and that to truly calm his bloodlust, he should seek out another monk of his order and join them. As Bellinor listened to these words, he reflected on the past few days and just how serene the monk had been. Bellinor felt that if Balon, a former bandit, could manage to achieve such serenity and peace following these traditions, maybe he could as well. Thus, Bellinor left the Everless Forest in search of another monk. After several months, he eventually found another monk named Shin. Bellinor explained everything to Shin, who then agreed to take Bellinor as his apprentice. Shin trained Bellinor in the Way of the Open Hand for several years, who eventually completed his training. After completing his training, Bellinor decided to live a life of seclusion rather than wandering the land like his master. This was partly to avoid his former bandit comrades and the authorities near Everless, but the main reason was that his thirst for blood, while suppressed, was still there. Thus, he traveled to the north to the wild forest of Arakora to begin meditation. He spent several years there until the portals of Jixia opened. One of these portals opened within Arakora, and many jixians poured out from within it. These jixians eventually overpowered him, and he was captured.
All right, thank you. Last but not least, Darvin Telstag.
Alright, I grew up in the wilds, far from civilization and the comforts of town and technology. I've witnessed the migration of herds larger than forests, survived weather more extreme than any city dweller could comprehend, and enjoyed the solitude of being the only thinking creature for miles in any direction. The wilds are in my blood, and even in places where I don't know the features of the terrain, I know the ways of the wild. 10 years ago, agents from Jixia ravaged and plundered my village and the countryside. Most of my family was killed in the attack. Since then, I've been trying to track down how they reached our territory, why they were there, who helped them, and anything else I can find in order to exact justice on those responsible. I have spent time from my village to gather this information and have found hints here and there, clues at different points, but it appears I may have overreached and now find myself a prisoner of those I sought, captured in the Jixian prison.
Thank you, everyone. So, as we look at this continent of Peridou, can we all, one at a time, ping where you're from, just to give an idea of where we all come from?
Oren was born in Paracelsus and grew up in Holmes Haven.
He's from Cloudrack up in here.
Tarnak was born in the Klostad tribe, but soon after he moved to Alfheimer.
Eleanor was born in Solus, though he eventually moved to Aralis, and then later on spent most of his time in Arakora.
And Darvin.
The vast Meteoritans. He has wandered nearest towns and major features trying to get the information, but his home is always in the vast Meteoritans.
Now, what I'm going to do is read an introduction that will show how we've all arrived at the same place. The last few days have been hazy, to say the least. Something about going through that portal made your skin goosebump for hours after. The sensation of the portal was unlike anything you've ever felt. It was as if you became a long glowing line. You were within and without of yourself, floating for an instant in nothingness, and then, phew! You landed somewhere in a volatile foreign land, ankle deep in roach-crawling mud. The minions who herded you by the neck with a rope had fastened magic-infused manacles around your wrists. You don't remember how long it was that they pulled you across perplexing lands that seemed just not right. Everything was weird and otherworldly. Creatures poked eyes out from dark corners of forests that radiated lightning through purple stormy skies. The grass seemed to whisper mocking insults as it blew in the wind. A day or so ago, you think, you came to an encampment of more minions with other prisoners. It seemed you were all being taken to the same location. Starved, beaten down, and devoid of hope, not much was said between the prisoners except these minor things. This is when the PCs meet for the first time. I'm going to bring this over to the Jixian map just to show where you've traveled through. You all met each other at the camp. They fed you only once, and though it looked like raw intestines, the voyage had starved you, and most of you devoured it whole. Tonight, you come to the sea and are forced into a strange alien machine that is powered by a glowing, pulsing staff stuck in the front center nose of the wooden fish-shaped structure.
Ricky Dicky!
Upon entering the tumultuous sea inside this fish marine, the staff grows in buzzing sound and power and forms an airtight sphere around the submersible, which is drawn down and down into the depths, past underwater mountains, long slimy urchins, exotic schools of dinosaur fish. Finally, a strange fort-like structure, like the one in the intro scene, too big to be true, appears in the windows of the submersible, a sprawling interlinked mass of iron that seems to be several miles from end to end, and is lost in sight as it curls into the far darkness of the sea. You estimate that you're at least 1,000 feet below the surface. The submersible approaches, guided by floating candles that burn somehow despite the bubbly water. A crooked sign reads, "Welcome, stay a while." Finally, you are led off the submersible and down a long, dark, guarded hall. A pointy, wart-nosed dark elf looks at you one by one.
Oh,
He's
jeez.
a dark elf, you said?
That's a dark elf?
Yeah.
Nice.
He seems important. He's dressed in mauve cloaks with a wand at his hip. Each of you are unmanacled by the guards, as the wart-nosed drow, mage, nods his head and harumphs. The manacles clank to the floor. Surprisingly, you stare at each other and realize you're free from restraints and they still haven't taken any of your equipment. You suspect the drow seated across from you must be very powerful to take such liberties. "We're getting quite full on room," says the wart-nosed dark elf as he glares under his silky hood. "So, fight these prisoners for your lives. Those who live can stay until their souls are ready to be eaten. He flicks his thumb in a pattern, and a giant translucent hand, mimicking his own, appears. He whispers an incantation, then opens two humongous doors that slide away to reveal a rat sewer kingdom of strange prisoners all free to roam. Some daringly poke their heads in to see you newcomers. 4 humanoid men are shoved forward, also fully equipped. 3 bandit prisoners, who are a red dragonborn, a human, and a halfling, and another larger, more armored, black-skinned human with a mocking smirk. Then the stone doors are slid shut by the translucent floating hand. "Fight," he says, "and try not to get any blood on me, or I'll kill you where you stand." The pointy-nosed dark elf does a sort of eeny-meeny-miny-mo between all of you and the prisoners that had just emerged. He decides on this human bandit, luckily, snaps his fingers, and the translucent hand snaps its fingers around the prisoner's neck, which twists violently with a crack of neck bone, a quick spurting jet of blood, and he falls dead to the floor.
That was the halfling, right?
Oh man.
That was the
This guy's
human
intense.
bandit.
The human. Okay. Human.
First blood.
"What are you waiting for?" says the dark elf, and the guards, after kneeling, crossing their arms in an X over their chests and saying, "My thorn, leave you there." We're gonna roll initiative.
Oh yeah.
Not terrible.
There we go.
Okay, so it looks like Orin is up first.
Alright, so I see a dragonborn. Can you describe the other living?
Here's a dragonborn, a red dragonborn.
Is he wearing or holding anything?
Yes. He is holding a scimitar in one hand. He's got a light crossbow kind of at his hip, tucked under his arm. And he's wearing leather armor. Similarly equipped is the halfling here. And here is what's like a snarling, black-skinned man who looks a little bit more in charge than the rest. And he's got a mace and a heavy crossbow on his back, also wearing leather armor.
And the last one?
This is the drow mage.
Oh, okay.
The one who wants us to fight.
There's no delay turn anymore, so I just have to skip my turn altogether.
You can ready an
You
action.
can ready action.
Actually, what I'll do, I'm going to move off to the side a bit and then ready an action to shoot at the first of the enemies that comes within melee range of one of us.
Ready in action uses your reaction, by the way.
So, this red dragonborn bandit, he's going to step to the side here and take a shot with his light crossbow at Eastburn.
All right.
Does a 17 hit?
17 does not hit.
Okay. He snarls as the crossbow bolt ricochets off of Eastburn's Thor emblazoned shield. And this guy right here, he says, "Fuzz is gonna get you guys good." He stands back, pulls out his heavy crossbow,
What? Oh. Yeah, that's no good.
and he's taking a straight shot at Darvin, Tallstag. Does a 17 hit.
It does.
It was nice to know you.
You take 7 damage.
Oof.
He says, Bellinor.
So I see this person right beside me get shot. So I'm gonna go in front of him and then I'll take out a dart and I'll throw it at the guy with the heavy crossbow. Roll to hit.
Nice.
Wow.
Not a natural.
Good shot, man.
Not a
Not a
natural
natural.
20, but
Not
yeah,
a natural.
that hits. 5 damage. All right. So you basically you chuck a dart like in your hand, like you take it. And throw
Yeah,
it.
I take out a dart and I just chuck it.
Yeah, it hits him in the shoulder and just kind of pierces through his leather armor. He goes, "Dah!" and like reaches and just like kind of pings it out, but a little bit of blood trickles down his shoulder.
As I hit him, I turn back and I say, "Are you all right, human?"
I am. Thank you. I'll be able to move on, but
All right.
I need cover.
All right, Tarnak.
I will move forward to the extent of my range. I will prepare to dodge.
So you basically just take a defensive position, or you're ready to jump and move around.
Yes.
Eastburn grunts, "Few who attack me live," and runs up here and casts Thunder Wave in a 15-foot cube in front of him on the 3 guys.
Damn. Okay. Is that a save that I have to do? Okay.
It is a DC 13 Constitution saving throw that halves the damage.
Okay. Okay, they all save.
They all save?
Yes.
Darn. All right. Well, they take half
No,
damage. And
sorry. Only 2 of them save. The halfling does not save.
Oh, okay. So he takes full damage and is pushed back.
Okay.
And then the other 2 take half damage.
Okay. So half would be 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And if he's pushed back against the wall, does that do anything extra, or is that the other spell that you had?
I think that's the other one. It just says it's pushed 10 feet away from you. It doesn't give. It doesn't list the things for damage or. But he would hit the wall.
Right. He'll hit the wall. I'll add another 1 damage onto it for hitting the wall. The halfling, being short of stature, is blasted back by a wave of thunder. How do you display this force?
I plant my shield in the ground, and the Thor symbol glows, and then, like the crack of lightning, the sound of it bursts forward from the shield. No actual flash, but just the sheer shockwave and force.
Mm-hmm. And the halfling goes flying back, trips over the dead comrade with his broken neck, and hits his head against the wall. The Dragonborn also looks relatively shaken up by it. Stammers back, shakes off his head, and looks a little dizzy. All
Good
right.
strike, dwarf.
Angrily, I take my short bow and knock an arrow. I step to the side to get an open line at the halfling. Thanks for the cover, but now we need to end this.
I agree.
My shot is wide, though.
Your shot flies between the halfling and the drow, and the drow looks at it and looks at you, and then shakes his head slowly. Now it is the halfling's turn. On top of the dead comrade, he steps forward and decides to shoot back at the one who just shot at him. Oh, critical miss. The bolt just shoots like 5 feet in the ground in front of him. Back to the top. Oren, Tomte, Levin, and Workin Bande Kubater.
I will trying to think of something witty to say, but I don't have it. So I come up behind Darvin and I level my crossbow again, ready to shoot at whomever finds themselves in melee first.
You're re-readying the action.
Readying the same action.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to enter melee.
Well, come on, guys. Let me use my reaction.
He's reading a ranged attack.
But he's still standing behind Darvin, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Does
if
that
he
grant
makes a ranged
disadvantage or
attack, won't that
something?
be disadvantage?
There's like a cover rule for shooting, I think, past someone. Partial cover.
They are granted partial cover.
A target with half cover gets +2 AC and Dex saving throws. Obstacle might be a low wall, large piece of furniture, narrow tree trunk, or a creature, whether that creature is an enemy or a friend.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I would have moved 1 step further,
So that hopefully you can shoot 2 of those guys.
unobstructed.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you do that arrow thing?
It's the ruler. It's
No, boy.
We got arrows everywhere.
rave
Alright.
party.
Okay, so the red dragonborn bandit. He stepped right here, so I think that's going to provoke Oren's attack if he wants to take it.
I will take it. 9 versus whatever is AC. It's probably going to miss.
Yes, that's going to miss. Is it a crossbow that you're firing?
Yes.
The bolt flies over top of Eastburn's head and into the ceiling. Then the dragonborn opens his mouth and breathes a cone of fire
Oh gosh.
Ouch.
right here.
Oh lord.
Okay, I can see that.
And Tarnak and Eastburn have to make a dex saving throw.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Awesome.
Nice.
Double
That's a
crit.
critical awesome.
A double crit dex save.
So I basically just fly and
Tarnak,
absorb the fire?
Well, it's half damage on dex save. So,
Right,
but
right.
You both saved though. You both saved.
That is
so
awesome.
you're going to each take 2 damage, 2 fire damage, depending on if you're. I don't think either of you have any vulnerabilities or resistances yet. Now it is the turn of Fuzz the Thug. He snickers as he watches fire kind of burn up a little bit of your clothes and scorch Eastburn's beard a little bit. He turns to approach Eastburn in melee combat, pulls out his mace and swings it with a strong, ashy arm. But he misses. It bangs off of the shoulder plate of Eastburn's chainmail armor.
Oh, you'll have to do better than that, lad.
Yeah, I'll get you. Bellinor.
He says, I get you, and I say, no, you won't. I move up here. I put back my darts. I take my quarterstaff in 2 hands, and I smash him.
You can drop the darts and then pick up the quarterstaff.
You can't put it back? 'Cause I
No,
know
they
in
have-
3rd edition you can't put it back, but I'm not sure about this one.
And
Seems
this
like
one
you
is.
can only stow or draw one item during
Yeah,
your
you
move.
can stow or draw. You can't do both, though.
Okay, I'll drop it. Then
But you
take
can pick
my-
him up from the ground with no
Yeah, of course.
provoking opportunity.
And he's got
So-
more. He's got more on him that he can draw and
Yeah.
attack with at next time.
So I have like one dart.
Most likely, you didn't even draw another one then because you had used your last one.
Oh,
And
yeah.
at this, you probably drew your weapon and then it moved forward
Yeah,
to
okay.
attack. So yeah.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
hmm
So
Okay.
I take my quarterstaff in two hands, and no, I rolled already. 13.
And that's gonna hit.
That's gonna
Nice.
hit.
Woo!
Wow. Okay, so I take my
Nice.
quarterstaff, I swing it diagonally
Oh, versatile.
from the top, and I
Nice.
hit him right in the head.
Yeah, and that just kind of like snaps his head. You see his hair kind of get wedged into a gap in his skull, and he takes, considerable damage, and you can see that he's starting to bleed.
How did
Okay,
you do so much?
because it's D8 with two hands.
Plus
And
3.
Nice.
then I use my momentum with my swing. I spin around and I kick him with my bonus action as a monk. And wow.
That's gonna hit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good
And
Bellinor's just kicking ass over here.
4. So I kick him in like the knee or something.
God, by the gods. Okay, yeah, he's hurt pretty bad.
I give him a little finger wag. No, you won't.
The drow snickers and says, "Amusing." It's Tarnak's turn.
I have one question in regards to targeting. If I'm, say, in this square, then does anything that has a square that's touching that hit, or does it have to directly cross a character?
If your line of sight crosses through a square that a character's occupying, then yeah. Move to where you would be, and then what are you trying to do?
I'm gonna be doing my breath attack because it's a 5 foot by 30 line. Since it's touching the corner of one of the Dragonborn spaces, is that attacking the Dragonborn or no?
No, that wouldn't
But if he did it this way, where like instead of towards the drow over
be.
here,
Yeah.
doesn't it pass through the dragon, the human, and the halfling?
Yeah. That works.
Okay, I see.
That works. Although it's only a 15-foot line, or no, I think it's a 30-foot
It's a
line.
30 foot. It's
Yeah.
a 30 foot line.
So then, in that case, you would be hitting the drow,
How so?
right? Because it's if you
Just like that.
yeah, and
It
and
But
crosses
it still
so on.
carries
corner.
over.
You can go it like this,
Yeah,
but,
then you wouldn't
you
not
won't hit the
you wouldn't hit the
not
halfling.
hit the halfling. So you have to pick
I'll still
and
take
choose.
that.
So you'll
I'll
take
take-
the dragonborn
Yeah,
and
right there.
the thug.
Yeah, exactly how that's targeted.
Okay. 12 dex saving throw. Okay, so both of them need to make a dex saving throw.
Is there a way we can see your rolls? Like when you roll for the saving throw of the guys, or?
He's GM rolling everything.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
GM rolling everything. I can change that though. I just have macros set up.
Gotcha, that's fine. I don't
No,
know.
I think you should like hide like saving throws and ACs because that
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
important.
It makes it
I
a little
agree that-
too.
A lot of rolls should be hidden, but it's nice to see, like,
If it's one of those rolls where like we're about to die,
Then
or
I will
something like
definitely
that, then
show
yeah,
it.
then like
I'll
Roll it.
change. I don't even mind showing it to you guys. I'll change it later on.
Well,
So-
I actually like the hidden rolls from a DM because then you can fudge them. And we won't know.
No, I don't like to fudge rolls, and I just don't do that. Even if it helps you guys, the dice decide all fates.
I prefer it that way.
So Fuzz here, he saves, but the Dragonborn does not.
That's how you do a breath attack, is what I say to the Dragonborn.
way to go, Tarnak.
It's 5 acid damage.
Oh, yeah, half damage on a save. Okay.
Have that.
So you shoot a spurt of straight acid,
Right.
and it sizzles into the red Dragonborn scales, and a little bit spurts on the face of Fuzz the Thug. And a little bit of the extra goes back onto the wall behind, and just kind of down the doors that slid shut. Okay, he's
It is
burned.
purple acid, I'll add.
Purple acid, nice.
Bright purple acid.